Welcome to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki, where inspiration meets action. This is your spot to grow, level up, and lead with fresh ideas. From sales to service, from frontline teams to executives, we're dropping weekly knowledge and insight to keep your store sharp, relevant, and profitable. Let's get into it. Well, welcome back to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. We're going to jump into the future of AI in dealerships and what this actually looks like, not in theory, but in practice. And my guest today, Kevin, subject matter expert in AI. He's the head of product at Matador AI, which I have to get behind because my high-performing stores use Matador. I enjoy using it just because I like to do things that make my life easier, not harder. But he's designed, in this really intelligent system that they're reshaping how dealerships really just get their teams working together to communicate more effectively, make better decisions. And anyways, Kevin's on here because he's known for bridging AI capabilities with that real world operations that we all are involved in every day and trying to level up our businesses. So anyways, we're talking about human AI collab over here. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks for having me, Jen. I'm excited to be on today.
Yeah, well, I've got to ask you. So, you're designing the future of how AI fits into dealerships, world, and so many tools. And I'm just curious, but what excites you the most about where AI is going right now in the industry?
That's a great question. There's a lot to be very excited about, I would say. Maybe taking a step back, just when we started Matador, we were pre-ChatGPT, right? And we were building the solution because we felt the pain points at the dealer. Like we understood the friction that existed in between a lead trying to convert that into an appointment and then to a sale.
Right.
There's so many ways you can optimize that. And so we, had gotten started on building an AI solution before it really became a thing. And then as soon as ChatGPT came out and people suddenly were talking to a computer and it's human, it might have emotions. It was open Pandora's box, essentially. And then, you started seeing AI being slapped on everything. It felt like you can't turn around without seeing a different AI software.
It's true. It was like a side dish to everybody's main dish, right? Yeah. And it still is.
Yeah, like an easy way to just, move yourself into the future. Whatever you were doing, just do it with AI now.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like that way of implementing AI it was very rough, right? It's almost like, to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But the way we approached it was, let's truly understand where specifically in the customer journey AI can provide the most value and also where we can amplify the human. And I think that's just like a fundamental shift from where we were to where we are going now. And that's what I'm most excited about because, a few months ago, a year ago, AI was a lot of hype, a lot of very cool demos, but it didn't necessarily help. Today, we're seeing AI really change the way dealers communicate and how they operate as well.
I feel like it's a lot more tailored now. I mean, we can expect this technology to continue to enhance in the performance and its capabilities. It's true though, when it first came on the scene, it was like everybody slapped it on their product and it was kind of a basic thing, but it was a lot of hype. And now we're starting to see more tailored experiences leveraging AI in the dealership. And especially now we're getting to know it a bit better. Now it's about the human, the AI collab, and in leveraging each of these team members' support, their strengths together, right? And so tell me like a little bit more about how this works best together, or what does it look like when AI and humans are collabing effectively in a dealership environment?
Yeah, well, we've never believed AI should replace humans, ever. It should redefine how humans are spending their time, where they're focused. We're amplifying them to get more done and to also spend time with customers in a much more human way. Reaching back out to that eighth lead you were assigned today to try to get them to respond over
I'm
email
going to
or
kill
SMS.
myself. It sounds
Exactly.
exhausting.
Nobody wants to do that.
No, thank you.
By lunch, you're burned out, right? Like
Totally.
my mind definitely wouldn't work anymore. So let's have AI do all of this repetitive work, right? That's burning everyone out, and then leave the salesperson to actually sell the car. And you kind of
Nice.
nailed it, right? Like it's the experience. Like what does that experience of AI human collaboration look like?
Yeah.
And we really broke it down to like its most fundamental cores. And I think that's why we're a bit different from every other tool on the market, right? Like we're able to add more value to the conversation with AI because of the way we've built the flow between the human and the AI. And so ultimately, the main difference is in the experience of the salesperson, the BDC person, anyone at the dealer using the AI, where either it's generating a ton of tasks for you and half-baked conversations just fall on your lap, and suddenly you went into this whole thing thinking AI was going to make your life easier, but it just kind of feels like a new task list now you suddenly have to handle. Where we approached it differently, where we only loop humans in when a human touch is truly needed, like an extra photo, or someone's out of state and they have this really weird deal they're trying to put together with a trade-in, and you need to get someone from F&I involved. The AI that we've built just better understands the context of the conversation. And that way, we've coined the term agent autonomy rate, but we have a leading agent autonomy rate in the market. And ultimately what that means is we're able to handle more of the conversation, and there is less work for humans to do at the store.
Which I think is really important because, I work with the front line. So for me, I'm very much an advocate of looping AI in at the right moment. Some of the challenges that we've seen with AI in the sales process, in early phases of some AI products and still remaining in some, is where it's not communicating or it's not understanding that sales scenario where you're at, and it's either over communicating or it's sending the wrong message. For example, the car's been sold, yet it's still pinging, hey, do you want to come in for a test drive? Or we've already responded to the customer on a call, and it's still saying, we haven't spoken to you yet. And it's like these disconnects really get in the way of that customer feeling special. And it's like a dead giveaway. We don't really always want to be a dead giveaway. And I think that's why I liked and leaned towards Matador so much, because it feels a lot more natural in the language that it's using. Because with GPT, for example, sometimes, I say to myself in my own prompts now, I'm like, don't sound like AI, no dashes, no emojis. And sometimes the AI content that gets generated in the tools it's just like old school 80s templates, it's just not feeling the reels.
Exactly. And I feel like that's the worst experience, right? You get a tool that's meant to help you, and then suddenly you're working a deal and the AI comes in with some totally random context. No, like that's exactly the way we thought about it too. And at the end of the day, it's very obvious based off of the people who are actually using the product. And me as like head of product, that's my barometer, right? If you're taking a salesperson and you're showing them a tool and they truly believe it's going to help them sell more cars and get them more commission, they're fully bought in, right?
Well, you would think so.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you would, and I feel like that's also like a major difference.
Let's
Because
go.
a lot of other AI tools, there's a lot of friction, and it almost feels like they're fighting against the salesperson, right? Maybe it's not necessarily friendly to use to amplify what you're trying to do. And so the way we built it was, how can you really make the salesperson a superhuman and have AI just be their backup, be their assistant, follow up with the leads they haven't followed up on with the context that they've already set in the conversation, fully synced with their CRM. So there's not this huge disconnect of data of, there's these two separate systems, right? There's Matador and the CRM, and you have to kind of jump between the two. It's just one fully cohesive experience. And I feel like that in and of itself helps salespeople sell more cars, and then they buy into the technology a lot more too, because they see it impact their paycheck at the end of the day. And there's no better testimonial than a salesperson who loves using Matador, because it is really making a difference in their own lives.
Well, it has to if you're using it correctly, because the truth is I've watched so many people get burnt out over lead fatigue because they're following up with ghosts. And that is a very real situation, particularly when it comes to like internet leads. I mean, especially third party leads. I mean, these people are not in market buyers, the majority. So you're talking like 95% of them are long term. You think the average salesperson wants to be chasing non-responders? I don't think so. And this is why I love this tool. And when I plug it in at the right times, it's really very helpful in keeping our front line in the right headspace. Let's start there. It's about a mentality, because if I'm over here, getting beat down with like voicemail, and what happens is I lose my momentum. And then when I finally do talk to somebody on the phone, I'm already fizzled out. It doesn't even sound like best day ever vibes. I'm burnt out, and it compromises my ability to be able to meet my income potential. So for those salespeople that understand how to leverage it into their sales process and do all the grunt work we don't want to do, so they can stay with those human connections, we are just killing our sales process. We've upgraded.
Exactly. And it just makes the dealership feel lighter, right? Like that daily grind, the juggling, the chasing, the entering things into your CRM a bunch of times. Like once all of that fades into the background and, you walk into the store, your day is already intelligently
very
structured.
effective.
Right? Like who to focus on.
Highly efficient.
Exactly. Like what opportunities are worth your time. That it really changes the whole way. And like you're not drowning in systems.
Give me some low-hanging fruit.
Exactly. And real actionable things, right? Not just here's a half-baked conversation where the customer asks like a question and now we're asking a human to do it because an AI doesn't know, right? It's not creating a random task for you. It's actually, moving the needle. So.
Yeah. Well, you oftentimes talk about like AI amplifying that human creativity. Of course, we love some productivity. But maybe you could share an example of what's, where that's already happening, maybe inside some of the dealerships that you guys are partnering with. What does this look like?
So I was speaking to this GM yesterday. I won't say his name. He's a very funny guy, an interesting character. I'll say that.
There's many of them out here.
There are, Otto. Like typically his days in the morning used to be, going in, just looking at all of the chaos in the CRM, seeing which leads need to be followed up on, kind of manually clicking through a million different screens. And he was kind of singing our praises, and he had called me early in the morning, I think like a cup of coffee in hand as he was speaking to me. He was like, you know what I did today, Kevin? I roasted a cup of coffee, and then before I was done, I already assigned all of the leads to all of the different people. And it's really cool. Nice. We have this feature, AI search. It like will bucket certain customers. Like if someone's waiting on a picture, it'll put them in one bucket. If someone, is actively waiting on a phone call for some reason. And so for him, it was super simple. You just see that list of customers. Someone wants a walk around video. You send it to the guy who's great at walk around videos. And so suddenly it's a whole new way to manage his store. And it's a lot more intelligent than, what every dealer had been doing in the past. It's the one lead assigned to the one salesperson, take it or leave it. Like, let that salesperson close. If he doesn't close, it is what it is. Now it's very different. AI is analyzing all the conversations, and you can actually have it now start also coordinating on your behalf and working with it to just allow your team to do what they're best at individually as well. So very cool.
Well, I think what you're really saying here is that it's where AI is now reshaping how we look at our day, how we look at our workload. It's reshaping the way that we even spend our time, even how we start our mornings. We start to evolve, continue to evolve, and see different tools emerging and the features that allow us to be more efficient, really to improve that guest experience. Because in the examples that you give us, and this is really great that you give us examples, because I think it helps us all to see the visual of the power of AI and what I as a leader could be looking for in my mornings. What's outstanding? I'm trying to put deals together today. I want to bring people in today, and I can't go through the CRM and figure out all of the thousands of people where we at. But if I could find some way to, bring home the areas that are into that they need a next step and they're warm or something's missing or a customer is asking me for something, and I feel like I've got buckets of information that I can go to, and even, maybe reassign to the right people who are skilled better at those next actions. May it be maybe shooting videos, for example, things like this. Yeah, I think that we are reshaping the day, and it's kind of exciting because I think in general, when you look at AI, you can't look at it as like even the way that we looked at it 2 years ago, as you mentioned, that we were really infancy then, and we still are. I think that when you look at AI, you have to be thinking, okay, how does this make my day more efficient and more productive? So yeah, great examples.
Exactly. I think AI is really changing everything. In the past, and I feel like maybe still today, whenever a dealer has a slow month, I think the first thing, or at least any business thinks about, is we need more leads, right? Just give me more leads, we'll try to sell more cars. It's kind of the very logical pathway.
That's what they think.
Exactly. And so today with AI, rather than, generating more leads and converting the same amount, you can convert a much higher amount by leveraging AI into that workflow and just improving the experience for the customer. Like you said, someone emails you, someone texts you, calls you, you need that one consistent experience. And even, the way we've built our product, that context remains consistent throughout. So if you have someone texting you, calling you, and then emailing you, calling you again, every single interaction the AI is aware of. And even on a phone call, it'll pick up by saying, hey, Jen, thanks for calling Matador Motors. Are you calling about the Honda Civic lead that you just inquired about, or about your, Rogue that's in our service department and there's an update for, right? So having that single brain and then having AI essentially become the voice of the dealership and the brain of the dealership, I think it's a really cool future.
I just wanted to heart that, heart all of that. This is so exciting. And you listen, you're the head of product, and this is one of the leading AI companies that I work with in stores. So you got to tell us, Kevin, okay? I mean, AI is moving at a fast pace. We know this. And if you don't, you should. Because you got to get on board. You got to get involved in this so that you see, where we've been in the past, and vetting vendors, we know what to ask for and look for, and staying on top of these things really sometimes can help those that are really behind the wheel steering it envision what that future looks like for us. So fast forward in the next year, what does it look like in the day in the life of a dealership team member, who's leveraging AI seamlessly and it's integrated into their day-to-day? What does this look like for us?
I think what happens is the AI will provide an exceptional customer experience because it has an infinite memory. It understands everything about every car in existence, and it understands your customer and also the way your dealership thinks. So I think the experience for the customer is going to be incredible, and it's going to increase very soon. The content that we'll be able to deliver with AI will really change the way people work. But also on the sales side, I think, a lot of that repetitive task is now completely in the background. You're building relationships with customers automatically, almost. And I think that's where the leaders will really separate from the pack. And I think that's actively what's happening right now. You have certain dealers who are maybe a bit early in adopting AI, or who are at the forefront there, who are kind of pulling away with adding all of these different optimizations. So maybe it's a bit of like a doomer perspective, or like I have a sign saying the end is near, but I see this evolving very quickly, and I think that the dealerships that really embrace it are going to very quickly kind of pull ahead when it comes to giving that experience.
Me too.
And people are going to have to match that, I think.
Yeah, well, you're either going to get on board or you're going to get left behind, and that's the facts. And we already have experienced this with other technologies in the past. And so nothing's changed here. It is important, and I say it's all the time to leadership. It's important to get involved and understand how this stuff works, and don't abandon if it's not working the way that you want it to. I feel like this is a really incredible conversation, Kevin. It's really great to hear you share, such a clear vision of where humans and AIs collab together and how they take us into the future. And it is important that it's a collab, and it really stands out for me how intentional you guys are about keeping people at the center of tech, because it's when AI really helps us think faster and be more efficient and communicate better is where we're winning. We're actually serving customers smarter, and that's real innovation. Thank you so much for your insights, Kevin. It was really fun to talk to you.
Thank you, Jen.
You're a fun guy. Well, thank you everybody for listening. And remember, this is a collab, and I would encourage everybody to just get involved in leveraging AI for your team members, for their headspace, and helping people just really stay focused on their strengths. And anyone in sales, you're great at talking to people, face to face. You're great at talking to people on phone calls, but like all that follow-up and stuff isn't necessary anymore, Yeah, let somebody else do that. Let your AI bestie get involved. Thanks everyone for listening to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. Don't forget, my weekly live classes are designed to keep your team fired up, skilled up, and focused on results. Subscribe right now at edealersolutions.com.